got the engine on. I'm fairly familiar with that. That's quite a way off, but I don't want to go into a gate. So we aim for Drummond. And we hope we have enough fuel. We put in forward. Drink some water. It'd have been nice to get some footage of the dolphins, but so yesterday the engine, we got it going and we managed to get in here, but what should have been a fairly quick trip just wasn't. I think I probably went too far out south. I should have made the tack a bit sooner. But I was expecting that the wind wasn't supposed to just drop off and stop like it did. It was meant to change direction and come from the north, which we should have still been able to move as long as we was around Esterel, the big mountain, yeah, I guess it is a mountain, cliff, whatever you want to call it. But it didn't just come north. What happens here quite a lot of the time is once the wind stops going from one direction, it just stops completely for a bit, even though that's not what's really forecast. So we ended up motoring. The motor, the fuel had got low, so then when that happens, it plays up a little bit because it gets a bit of air in. Had to get that out, but it was obviously, you saw the sunset, so it was getting dark. And then we've come to Ile Lion de Mer. You might recognise this from one of the episodes. I'll post a link to that video. It's actually my lowest viewed YouTube video. It tends to be whenever I do a video and I'm exploring an island, YouTube doesn't show it to anyone. I know you guys who watch every week have probably seen it, but it's relying on the algorithm to show people the videos, which it doesn't always do. Anyway, we got in at around about 9:30, but it started to get dark earlier now, which is not great, is it? Because then the alternator seemed to be working a bit, but then when I got in, it quickly dropped off. So I need to look at that again and get that working really, because it's not so bad if you can get that running, and at least when the motor's running, it's charging the batteries when the sun stops. The solar panels seem to be doing a good job. The sails did a good job yesterday, so not all is bad. But yeah, when we got in last night at like 9:30ish, didn't really know what to do. I'd eaten some like dry sausage on my way over here, so I had eaten. and getting the mooring buoy wasn't a fun task either. I got it first time. I got it quite quickly. The problem actually came a bit later on. So as I was coming in, there was a fishing boat on the next mooring buoy there. Them rocks over there though, I really just couldn't see, and I keep meaning to buy a tablet that, and I think I've mentioned before, that I can connect to the chart plotter and still have the display, because I did have a course set yesterday, but when trying to do that, this outside chart plotter, I need to pay for Navionics, but I guess if I use that I wouldn't actually need to have the tablet. But the chart plotters are really good for what they do. They've obviously got fairly decent GPS built in, etc. But trying to navigate the screen while you're coming into like a tight space is not so easy. And that one that's outside, just completely, it's useless. I put it on, it tells me how fast I'm going, but the map needs updating and I need to pay for the subscription. It's quite expensive. So I'm not sure if I'd rather just buy a tablet that can connect to the interior one, and I might actually sell this outside one. Probably I'd get 100, 200 euros maybe for it. It's just, I think it's mainly aimed at like fishing boats, so it's not that great. It does what it's meant to do, I guess, when I pay for it, but I'm sure it's like 100 euros I've got to pay for that, and for it lasts a year, so it works out about the same as the tablet one. But a tablet, you know, you can pinch, zoom in, zoom out. It's just generally a lot easier to use because of the touchscreen element of it. So if I get a tablet that's still got GPS, I did look into this before, maybe we do that. Because yeah, if that was just out in my hand as I was coming into this fairly tight gap, I didn't know if there was going to be a mooring buoy. I was going to go for his use, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't expecting to run the motor as much as I had to, and I weren't sure I had enough fuel to get over there. And then I'd have had to anchor, and I remembered these mooring buoys were here, so I thought I'd come and get one of these. So here's the mooring buoy I'm on. But as I approached it, I came in through here, and then I kind of went around, and I wouldn't have been far at all from them rocks. And by that point, the wind had then started to come from the north, as it was meant to have done earlier. Anyway, I got it first time, and I got one mooring line around it. The fishing boat that was there, they kindly shone a torch over for me, which was actually really nice. So I could see a lot better, because when you're coming in places like this and it's dark, the moon at the minute rises, because when I woke up later on the moon had risen and it was about 12:30, so you don't have any moonlight either. And because it's an honest channel, I will be honest, my navigation light, I wasn't expecting to be stuck out in the dark. I probably need to go into a port to fix it, because it's really hard while the boat's bobbing up and down trying to connect it, and I don't want to drop the light or anything. I might give it a go later today, but we'll see. There's not much spare wire on it, that's the issue. So it probably got wet. I needed to seal it when I fixed it a few episodes ago, but just didn't get around to it, and I should have. But yeah, so the navigation lights weren't on. It had got dark, and I had a very close encounter with a super yacht. They were flying really close to the land, so they could have been further out, but obviously I should have navigation lights on, so I will take responsibility for that. I did make sure I left the cabin light on those and the mast light, so I was visible, and with the mast light I could have been anchored where I were. So either way, they shouldn't have been flying past, because the mast light was on, which would suggest the boat was anchored there. So when they came past just screaming at me, I shouldn't have been moving, so I'm in the wrong. But when they was approaching, they wouldn't know I was moving, because I was going in a straight line. Anyway, we won't say any more on that. But yeah, got in, got tied up, then tied the sails up, and then didn't have any laptop left on the battery because I'd been using it on the way over here. So in the end, I didn't have any wine either. We're out of wine, which shouldn't be a problem. Trying to not let it be a problem, but yeah, we're out of wine. So after a day of sailing, yeah, normally I'd have a wine and I'd cook my tea or dinner, depending what part of the world you're from. But I'd already eaten, and it was, yeah, so, and the floor is having this issue, which I'll get onto in a minute. So I crawled over the wet floor.
Can't believe we're having to do this again. I thought we'd solved it.
I really don't want to do it. It's not fun, and it's in a swell as well. I'm not going to record it because I'm going to have to like strip off basically, because otherwise I get wet and fuely water all over my clothes. But I'll let you know when I've done it. That's that job done. Only took an hour. I hate doing that, it's horrible. I do need to fix that engine leak. Yeah, I've been tempted just to like, someone told me like months and months ago, you can get the Loctite, like the blue one. I think it's the blue one. I did see it in the shop the other day. I might give that a go, because I did use a new gasket on it, and it's leaked ever since, so that didn't work. But yeah, really we could do with it not leaking. But this float switch has been working, but for whatever reason, I've just looked and it's come off its little mount. It's not even that the mount is unscrewed, just annoyingly the float has come off the mount. They make these things really flimsy, like there must be a better way to like mount them generally than, you know, you don't want to put heavy big screws into the hull, but that's the way you're supposed to mount them. Anyway, that's done. Waiting for the final floor panel to dry, and I'll put that on the side. Kettle's boiling. There's really not much wind. It does keep picking up a little bit, but there's not enough to move, and it's not worth it without having backup fuel, is it? So yeah, I think we're going to see out the day here. Progress on the laptop, it's been on, and the battery's actually now gone back up to, it never lets me film that, 12.9, 13, 12. That is like as full as this battery ever goes. Sometimes you'll see it go up to like 13.4, but as soon as you switch anything on, it goes down to 12.9, but I think that's normal. The only time it's ever like 13 plus upwards. If it's connected in the port onto the power, it will go up to 14, but again, as soon as something's on, it drops down. So it seems that now the laptop battery's full, it's actually uploading a video and that's remaining full, so that's good. Obviously when it gets to winter we won't have as much sun, but we're trying to escape winter, aren't we? We don't want winter, so if we get our act together and get moving, we might not have to have winter as I know it. Winter here is not terrible, but there'll be no earning potential. I'm not sure there'll be earning potential where I go, but I need to find some way to earn some money to sustain this. So it's that or a job. I might start applying for some winter seasonal jobs just as a last resort, because if more starts going wrong on the boat and I don't have these boat charters, I hate saying that, boat trips, and the income that brings, I'm going to be fairly stuck. Last winter I had the French bull basically for the few however many months during the winter, but this winter nope. So we need to find a way to sustain. What is helping is having do I know that boat? What is helping is that I've been to the shop and bought stocked up on food, and I'm not having to now go to land, and because I end up just buying stuff I don't really need. However, a cold beer right now would be nice. Well, trying to not hit the wet floor on my way. Got into bed, fell asleep fairly quick, but then again woke up about 12:30, and at that point I could hear the waves splashing against the boat, and what wasn't meant to be that strong a north wind was a fairly strong north wind. And then, you know, I'm kind of glad I weren't anchored with my back to that, because they're not far off, but my mooring lines, the one that I had on, I remembered there's this chafe on it, and normally when I tie up on the port I tie so the chafe's not actually out, it's like beyond where I've tied up, if that makes sense. But I just in my head was thinking, is that going to be right over there and rubbing away on it? So I came out and added the second one, but that really wasn't easy to do as the wind was blowing. But yeah, I got that and then went back into bed. I must have laid there for about 3 hours trying to get back to sleep. Eventually did, but yeah, the stars were nice. We had a nice orange half moon which we looked at for a bit. But then it's back to that, innit, where I'm hoping when I get to new places that tends to, that, you know, there's that element to it. But coming back here, a bit like going back to Theo, that place doesn't give me a nice memory from the winter. And something I probably didn't say in episode number whatever it was that when I was in St Raphael Port there back in January, I had a lot going on, and sometimes on a night time I just really didn't want to be on the boat and I didn't want to go walk around the park, so I at times, more than once, got in the dinghy from over there in the dark, came over, tied up on there and sat on the island, which isn't a nice memory. So when I'd got in last night, I didn't really want to be here, but ultimately it's where I had to stop, and we was always going to have to come back to some of them places from the winter. I just wanted to put that part in there, because when I keep saying don't want to go back there, don't want to go back there, it's because the places weren't filled with, like, it was cold. I was in that port over there, which you might have seen parts of in some of the very early videos, but I was there before I started recording and I was stuck there. It weren't nice. There were building work, there were them tractors every day. There was the penguin, which I still don't think anyone believes me about, this penguin. Like, I was telling someone about this penguin the other day and they was like, no, there weren't a penguin. I was like, really, there was a penguin? I started to wonder myself that I'd just lost my mind, I don't know, but there was a penguin because someone else saw it too. So yeah, I weren't doing anything the whole month I was there. I was just waiting to be able to go. I needed to wait till the end of the month to have enough money to pay the port so I could leave, and yeah, it weren't a nice time being in that port or being on this island. But yeah, that was, you know, not quite a year ago yet, but a long time ago now. And then we've been east from here the whole time since. So I was always going to have to come back this way if I wanted to go west. What I didn't plan on happening was to then end up being here for the whole day. Today I was going to then finish the trip over towards Saint-Tropez, because I know some people over there who might let me use the Wi-Fi for a bit, because I could do with some Wi-Fi. The solar panel is obviously charging the batteries a lot better now. Every time I look at the GoPro, I've recorded 13 minutes, which over sailing channels, that's an episode with loads of things happening. And with me, it's me explaining things for 13 minutes. I don't know how to stop it. I probably keep saying the same things on repeat, but I think that's the reality of what this channel's all about, I guess. So yeah, we already know all about that. So, but I did just want to point out back in January, some of what was going on. I felt lost really. I was on this boat. I weren't even sure whether I wanted to be on the boat, and I was struggling to find any sort of work. I didn't have any sort of money. I'd not started YouTube yet, so obviously a big thing has been in doing it, like the comments and that people have subscribed. But back then I was wondering if anyone would even watch it. I couldn't get myself sorted enough to even record properly. I'd have the odd day, like when I went and visited the island during the day, not when I was going crazy one night when I came over in the night time. But yeah, that's the last thing to say about Leon de Mer. A sad memory from the winter that I've had to come back and visit now. Anyway, back to today and what's going on, and less about the winter. This morning, got up, Sunday today, and I've decided during the week, well, most of the time, apart from sometimes I don't do it, but most of the time I try to eat once during the day, have a fairly big meal on the evening. The reason being, if I eat in the morning, I tend to just want to eat all day, and we're on a budget too, and not having to buy stuff in for lunch and breakfast is actually a real easy way to save money, and people would believe eating 3 times a day is what you need to do. Honestly, there's something quite good about the fact that just before I do eat, I'm actually hungry rather than eating when I'm not actually hungry. So, but at the same time, I don't be that strict on it, because most days I will stick to it. And this morning's Sunday, I knew I was going to have to put my head out the hatch here, but I didn't want to be. So I made myself some banana protein bread, and I had some amaretto syrup, and I put that on it. It's nice. Because I'm not used to eating in the morning, I haven't finished it. But then the floor problem we should have solved yesterday, I'm going to have to solve now, because there's just the water's flushly running over the floor. So and then it just makes a mess. So I need to get that sorted. I've been putting it off all morning, but I'm probably going to have to do it now. I'm going to recheck the wind, see if I can go, but I don't know how much fuel I've got. I always carry some in there, but there's probably only 1 litre in there because I had to use some yesterday. And I don't want to head over to Antibes, the wind completely stop and me be in the middle of there not able to move. So I know tomorrow the wind's due to be good to go over there. So tomorrow's Monday, but on Wednesday, Thursday there's some strong winds, and I need to check how protected I'm going to be. I don't want to go back east, but I will say a big reason for not going that whole time is the protection over there. So while the boat wasn't really ready to go anywhere, over there I could protect from every sort of wind there was, whereas once I start going this way, it's not so easy to do it. And had I have gone over towards Italy, it'd have been even harder to do it, and I don't have the luxury of being able to go in port when the wind picks up. I might go try find you this mermaid that I went on about back in January. It's underwater somewhere, but at the minute the waves are crashing off the rocks quite a bit, and I don't fancy crashing into the rocks myself. We get the floor sorted. The laptop's working off the solar panels, which is good. Bonjour. And what else do I need to do today? I need to get a phone sorted because the internet on that phone it's not strong enough. So I need to get that sorted, and then might have to add the navigation lights. 18-minute video about my morning. As is. Let's put the light on so that you're going to be able to see me. Today I've got the floor sorted out, and and I've spent most of the day uploading and editing YouTube videos and working out what I'm going to do to replace my phone. So my actual contract, I have a phone contract because I have to use quite a lot of data. That's actually due to end at the end of the year basically, and I've been on and looked. The price, if I was to take out a new line, which is what I'd do when it was up, or if I was to upgrade my existing one early, and the price is the same. So I don't know if there's an error on their part, but I might do that, because I know myself that when that's up I'll end up replacing the phone probably anyway, and if I've thrown another €150 for one for the time being, then there's the thing where how long will it last? I think the next phone I have is not going to go off the boat, even if I do. I'm just going to take, I don't know what I'd take instead, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I spent quite a bit of time looking at that. The reason I just picked the GoPro up is because I mentioned earlier in the video I'm anchored back off the island that I was near in January, and honestly it's so spooky. So where and what I was thinking back in January is beyond me. But just like that, it's Sunday today, and for the first time in months it feels like last winter I'm the only boat here. And some anchorages are alright like that. This one you see the sea, like just the rocks coming out of it, and on a night time it looks very, very spooky. Anyway, because I'm the only boat, I'm going to turn this light off. I've got the candles on, and I know candles on a boat aren't a good idea, but we're not having a wine, so it's safe. And I need to keep the mast light on because there's fishing boats going left, right and centre. So yeah, I just wanted to say, I can't obviously show you because it's dark, but it looks spooky. That virgin statues overlooking me, being on the island when there was just bones everywhere. Yeah, I don't know, it's spooky. Anyway, I'm going to go back to, I've actually had a good run tonight. Now the laptop's replaced, I feel like the battery life lasts a little bit longer, so I've got through quite a few videos of editing. So if I can do this for a few nights like this, I should be able to catch up a little bit. And I'm just cooking some, I actually ate already, but I'm just hungry. Couscous a la Moroccan. I found out these little ready meals, you can actually boil them, so let's see how that comes out. I had a lasagna one a couple of days ago, it weren't that bad, so I'm having it as more of a snack, to be honest. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning. Right, low battery on the GoPro. I'm going to see if I can find some more batteries today. 2 nights here at Crazy Island, I like to call it. Leon de Mer is its actual name. I've tried to sort this phone problem out, but to do it online it requires me to log onto the app, which is the issue I have. I can't get onto the app. I need to sort it sooner rather than later, because although I can kind of connect to the hotspot, it's not really working as well as it needs to, and I can't use the laptop on a night time. My phone, in theory, I can charge through the night on the boat quite easily. Anyway, I've called the port. I definitely never wanted to go back into the port from January, which I nearly ran away from a few times. I don't know if they know it's me. I've said the name of the boat. They told me I can have a place. They tried to give me the south basin to start with, which is where I used to wander up and down the dock. So I said, please can I have the other basin? I don't know, I think they were probably thinking, why is it so important? I just didn't want to be back in there. I told myself I'd never come back to this port, and if you remember when I ended up going over to Theoul after being in Saint-Tropez in the early episodes, I went past here even though it meant getting in there really late because I just didn't want to come back here. However, The wind today probably would get me over to Saint-Tropez. It's meant to be decent later on, but by the time I've gone, got fuel and everything else, I'd be pushing it. Whereas at least if I go into this port tonight, prices have gone down a bit now, so it's 19. So after it being 35 to try getting a port, 19 doesn't seem too bad. If I can get in there, engine now still won't start, so I'm not sure I'll have enough money, but I really could do with buying a starter battery that just is separate for the engine, because when I want to get up and go in the morning and I'm not able to, it's a bit annoying. But tomorrow I could get in a dinghy and try go over there, but in the morning the wind gets strong from 5 o'clock onwards, so I want to be in Saint-Tropez tucked away before then. And if I've got to wait for the battery to be full enough and everything else in the morning, I'm going to struggle to do that, and I need to get some bits, so I'm going into the port. I didn't want to go back into, I'm going to try go to the phone shop and see if they can do the same deal as the phone that's online. I found one where I don't have to pay anything up front, I just have to renew my contract for a year, but in renewing it, it's telling me I'll then get like, it's unlimited internet, but also it gives me internet in the countries that I would potentially go past, and even in the Caribbean. Not that that's looking quite unlikely, but it would work in the Canary Islands, so it's not a bad investment anyway. And yeah, I'm finding it tricky just not having access to like the apps that I use on the phone, and I found yesterday, I need to be quick because the battery's going to run out, the laptop would run all day, no problem, and it actually weren't draining much from the battery once the laptop battery was full. So if I can just have it running full, turn it off at about 5 o'clock, so there's still enough sun to just make sure my battery is full, even though it was full, so if I just turned it off, and then don't use it on a night time, but it's temptation to use it on a night time because there's not a lot else to do sometimes. And this morning, as well as waiting for the batteries to charge to start the engine, I'm having to wait for it to charge to check the weather, everything else that I would normally be able to do on my phone. So I'm going to see if the phone shop will do it. If not, I'm going to take a long walk all the way over and up the hill and far away to the second-hand shop and just buy a phone that will work. And then tomorrow, the battery should be charged first thing in the morning, so we can leave as soon as I get up. I'll get the boat ready tonight so I can go Saint-Tropez. And we'll see what time we get there. It might be that we can go straight round to Porquerolles and skip Saint-Tropez, but we'll see. I'm trying to get in contact with the people I know who live over there, because I'll drop in and see them if it's possible. If not, maybe we could just go straight to Porquerolles. We'll see what it looks like. Wind wise, there's a couple of strong gust days coming up, but yeah, I think this is the reality. As much as I want to go straight away, there's going to be days where I've got to wait a little bit, so that's fine. Anyway, I'm going to try again to get the engine on and go get into the port.